All right, and welcome back, guys. So this is going to be the first guide in our installment of how to grind camos at a world record pace in Cold War. Now, the first guide I'm going to start off with is the zombies one. We also do have every single camo unlocked in multiplayer. Actually, we did that grind first. The first thing we did is unlock everything in multiplayer, then head back to zombies and get everything in zombies. But I think zombies is a little bit more concise, and all the weapons, yeah, there's a little bit of variations, but all of them play about the same. So the strategy doesn't change up really much at all depending on the weapon, whereas in multiplayer, if you're working on snipers or SMGs or whatever, you're using different game modes. At least we did for like just about each and every one of those. So those can be broken down a little bit more like by class, but for the most part, zombies are all around the same in how they're used. But before we get into this, I need to make sure you guys go into the description and you check out Fample, you check out Left, you check out Agent, and you check out Cody. Without them, the grind this year 100% not possible. Especially Agent in this one, because while the rest of the team was grinding out multiplayer, Agent was kind of our zombies player, and he was scoping out zombies for us, and he was kind of developing the quickest, most fast way to kind of grind camos in zombies for us, at least at the time. And that's a lot of the strategies we're showing off today. Agent's the one who helped find these for us, and we just kind of followed in his footsteps because he took the first zombie shift. But yeah, using a lot of these strategies, when we did unlock all of Dark Aether, and I don't mean the glitch unlock, by the time we fully unlocked Dark Aether, I mean all 29 weapons in zombies were gold. We had right around 3 days of in-game time in zombies. Now we're sitting at close to 4, but obviously we've been working for the 100% calling card in zombies and stuff like that, and other people have been playing on the account doing some zombie stuff. That zombie time, it's gone up about a day from when we fully unlocked Dark Aether. And I feel like using a lot of the tips we have here, you guys should hopefully be able to unlock Dark Aether in about 3, 4, maybe even less time than what we did. Because like I said, techniques for grinding camos are always changing, and this is a series I do want to update as time goes on. The way camos work in just about any Call of Duty, patches affect and change how camo grinding is done. Definitely so. So this tutorial I'm making right now, as of now, will probably be probably one of the best, most efficient ways to grind camos, but every single update, especially if they change the way weapon XP is earned and all of that stuff, completely changes as time goes on. So when changes happen and different and more effective ways are found and stuff like that, I do want to keep this series updated, and we'll just keep adding new additions onto this video as we go on into the future. Now, I want to start this guide off with kind of saying the most important thing, and this is the same thing, and this is the same tip I give every year with every COD. Now, you could have the best strategies in game, and you could have all of that, but the most important thing is double weapon XP is huge in this game, and kind of prioritizing your time around double weapon XP can make a huge difference in how quickly you're able to grind this. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say you notice on Twitter, or you find out that starting next Monday, double weapon XP is going to be live for the next week. Now, what you should do in that scenario, if you're really serious about grinding these camos and getting this done, is if you know you have schoolwork, if you know you have work for work and stuff like that, or other personal things you have to get done, I would make sure you get all of that caught up, all of that ready to go. So then come next Monday, or whenever the next double weapon XP is, you can play and maximize your time on there. Because essentially you'd be doubling your in-game time at that point. Every minute, whenever there's double weapon XP live, is worth double. That's worth twice the amount of time at that point. Because the hardest part of this grind is leveling up your weapons. And this is a tip that I give every single year. And I know it seems kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people that this would help out. Like, essentially just one of the most important tips for this entire grind is just making sure you can free up your time to play as much as you possibly can during a double weapon XP event. Because like I said, that's gonna help you get it twice as quick, because this game's all based around leveling up those weapons. Now, before we go into the in-game technique with the training route and all of that, one thing that I would definitely recommend are some attachments you want to run, and this just isn't for camo grinding, this is kind of for zombies in general. But these were definitely attachments that I think made a huge difference while grinding for this camo, and it's probably going to help you get it quicker than what you otherwise would. Now, the attachment for the reticle or the optic, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter too much. This is personal preference. There's really no difference here. I ran kind of these last tier red dot sights, but really it's just, this is kind of personal. Whatever you want to throw on it, go ahead and put on for the optic. Now, When it comes to the flash guard, pretty much every single weapon, this second attachment, or at least the one that says the increased equipment drop rate, I almost always just ran this one because it's going to give you more stuns, more decoys, all of that good stuff on the ground. And I think it also, the armor plates and the armor, it drops that more. So it just in general for zombies, I think this is the best attachment for that slot. And once again, for the third attachment, about every single weapon has a plus armor damage, and when you're running hordes and the big armored zombies are there, this is such a benefit to have. And none of the other, like, this gives you effective damage range and bullet velocity, which would help if you were shooting zombies at a far distance, but how often do you find yourself shooting at zombies really far away? These are more like multiplayer stuff, and I don't know, the armor damage by far seem to be the most helpful. This is, in my opinion, the most OP overpowered attachment in the entirety of zombies. This increased salvage drop rate. Now this is the currency that you use to upgrade your weapons, that you use to buy armor. You upgrade your armor, buy stuff from that shop. And I haven't done any testing on this, so don't take me at face value, but this increased salvage drop rate, this seems to almost double it. It definitely makes a huge difference. You definitely notice it. And because of this one single attachment, I never pick up weapons in game. I always make sure I'm using my starting weapon, because I know you can randomize your attachments, but how would you even know if you got the mounted flashlight or if you're using the laser sight? Like, you just have to keep buying it, and there's other flashlights, so it's really hard to even know if you got the right one. And this attachment's such a game changer in my opinion that you don't want to use any other weapon besides the weapon you spawn in. That way you can make sure you have this mounted flashlight, because while using this, you're going to be able to upgrade your weapon quicker, and the quicker you get your weapon to the final orange tier or even the purple tier, the more effective it's going to be. The quicker you're going to kill zombies, the quicker you're going to go through rounds, the quicker you're going to grind out this camo. So for sure, I'd recommend either running the mounted flashlight or this final one. Depending on the weapon and the hip fire of the weapon, this one does the same thing. It does the increased salvage drop rate, but it also gives you an extra hip fire accuracy, which is good for zombies if you're not ADSing in the horde as much, which depending on what weapon I'm using, sometimes I'll train the horde while ADS the whole time, kind of backing up. Or I'll hip fire it depending on the weapon. So this one's kind of, but either one of these are two attachments, depending on whether you're hip firing more or you're ADSing more. Just really 100% dependent on that. Now, when it comes to the underbarrel, once again, this one doesn't make a huge difference, kind of personal preference. I always use the one that gives you the plus 555, the aim, walking, movement speed, the shooting movement speed, and the movement speed, just because I don't really want to negatively affect this other stuff. So I just run that one. When it comes to zombies, almost always you want to pick that last magazine attachment. Yeah, it gives you a negative 25% aim down sight time, which ADS is pretty important. But let's be honest, the most single important thing in zombies is the amount of ammo you have and your magazine size. And for sure, this one, almost on every single gun, the final tier magazine is the most important. Like, look at all the plus 65 ammo capacity, max starting ammo, magazine ammo capacity, reload quickness. And yeah, these other ones do positives, but they're not anywhere near the same. This is just like a combination of everything. And yeah, makes your ADS really slow, but in zombies, your magazine's everything. Let's be real here. Now the handle, this one doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I just usually use the last one because I like to be able to ADS while going prone, even though it doesn't really help in zombies. It's what I use. And I like that extra 30% ADS time. And I mean, you can't really go wrong with this one, more personal preference. Same thing with this. I definitely wouldn't put on any of these later attachments because hip fire accuracy is important in zombies. So, and you don't want to be taking 30% away from that. I just use the plus 10% sprint fire time. Really not that important attachment. So, I mean, really, you're just wanting to make sure that you have the armor damage one, that you have something that's giving you increased salvage drop rate, and that final tier magazine attachment. These attachments, these three are extremely important, and I would for sure recommend running it on just about every weapon you do on this grind. All right, and the next thing we're talking about is the field upgrades that you want to be using. Now, there's only really two. These first three, you don't really need them that much for camo grinding, but these last two, you've definitely seen people using Ring of Fire a bunch, and you've definitely seen people using the Aether Shroud somewhat. Now, Ring of Fire is really good, especially if you're camping on top of Noct, especially with multiple people. This is a really powerful ability because one, especially once you get it maxed out, it auto refills your ammo and the damage you're doing, especially for killing bosses. This thing is pretty insane. I would recommend in certain times though to also be using the Aether Shroud. Now this one, essentially this one's like save your butt. Essentially, if you're training and you get stuck or if you get trapped somewhere, you essentially become like invisible to the zombies for about 5 seconds or so, and it reloads your ammo. So, I mean, when we were training underneath pack, depending on the weapon we're using, some weapons are very, very helpful with this, but depending on the weapon we were using, didn't really matter too much to have the Ring of Fire ability. And we were just training underneath pack, and we would just use the Aether Shroud just in case you get cornered. If you get cornered, you just pop the Aether Shroud, and then you're good, and you get to essentially restart your train again like nothing ever happened. So, kind of try out both of these. So, depending on which one, it might work better for you in different situations, just kind of depending on your play style. So I would definitely kind of go back and forth between these two and just really kind of feel out which one fits your play style and camo grind strategy a little bit better. I mean, you might want to try these, but like I said, I haven't really seen anyone who's got much benefit camo grinding using any of these. And now we're going to talk about kind of the skills and other stuff like that. We pretty much use Napalm Burst, I would say 95% of the time. This one I think is the most effective for killing zombies in a train. So it does more kind of damage, and you can still get criticals while doing this. You almost always get criticals while doing this one. Dead Wire if you're trying to kill the bosses, but to be perfectly honest, like, you just wait till the end of the round, kill the boss. I think you're better off going Napalm most of the time. So, and this is kind of how, if you guys haven't maxed out everything, you don't have enough of the crystals to max out everything, I would kind of prioritize maxing out this, and then I go to perks. You definitely want to upgrade Deadshot, because this one's very, very helpful. So I would work on getting this one maxed out like as soon as possible. That and the weapon class you're working on. So let's say you're starting with SMGs. Try to max out the SMGs as soon as possible. And I mean, that's just how you spend your crystals. This really tip doesn't help you if you already have everything maxed out, but if you're just starting the grind, you don't have a bunch of crystals, max out obviously the weapon class you're using for first. I max out Deadshot and I max out Napalm, and then start working on the other perks. You don't really need Elemental Pop. You don't want to run this perk at all while grinding this. For the strat we used, we would get every other perk. You get Jug, you get Speed, you get Quick Revive, Stamina Up, and Deadshot, and obviously all of those help you for obvious reasons. Being able to run faster, regenerating health quicker, all of that's very, very helpful. But this one will negatively impact you, especially if you're going for headshots. Even if you're aiming at the head a lot, this is going to use different effects that are going to kill the zombies, and you're going to get a lot less critical kills while using Elemental Pop. So definitely try to avoid this perk as much as you can while grinding for this this camo. You really don't want this pretty much at all during any point during this camo grind, to be honest. So now we're moving on probably to one of the more important and more volatile parts of this grind. This is the most annoying challenge of doing this grind, or just anything along these sorts. It's the leveling up of the weapons, because it just takes so long to level weapons in this game, man. It is so annoying. The challenges for everything aren't bad. It's just getting that gun to max rank is really what is going to cause you to struggle. Now, with us, we leveled up all the weapons in multiplayer because we went for DM Ultra first. So by the time we went to zombies, every gun was max rank. We already had every gun gold in multiplayer, so we were able to hop into zombies, kind of immediately start the grinding for the camo action. But if you haven't done that yet, you still have a hurdle to kind of get past before you can really just solely focus on those camo requirements. Now, there's really one of two ways you can go about this, and it really depends on what you want to play. Now, I think one of the better ways to level up weapons is to go multiplayer. It's a lot quicker to level up multiplayer. It's not extremely fast. There's really no extremely fast way to just get a gun to max. Like, there isn't. But multiplayer is probably quicker than zombies, especially if you're a solo zombies player in the current state of things. So we went to multiplayer. I pretty much weapon leveled all of the weapons in hardcore domination. I know a lot of people will say Dirty Bomb is the way to go. But to be perfectly honest, we tried both. We tried Dirty Bomb quite a bit, and we tried just regular hardcore dom. And hardcore dom seemed to level the weapons faster for us, because I feel like we were getting more kills and stuff like that. Dirty Bomb at the end of the game, it makes you feel like you got more, because you're going to get a ton of levels on your weapon at the end of the game. But you got to understand, Dirty Bomb games go on forever, and if you're really good at Dirty Bomb, it might be the way to go. It just really, when it comes down to leveling the weapons in multiplayer, it really comes down to what game mode you feel the most comfortable playing. 100% that is it. So just, if you feel most comfortable playing Dirty Bomb, great. Hardcore Dom, great. Normal Dom, great. Whatever you're going to get the most kills, the most score per minute, definitely choose that game mode. And whenever you see enemy like equipment on the ground, destroy that, because every point you get while your weapon is in your hand is leveling your weapon. So capturing points while holding your weapon. Just anything that's going to see points pop up on your screen is going to help level up your weapon as well. So playing the objective with the weapon, stuff like that was stuff we used, and it definitely helped kind of maximize your weapon XP gain. But now let's take this from a different approach. Let's say you don't want to play multiplayer and you're a zombies only player. This is where things get a little tricky, and this is probably going to change multiple times, probably within the next week or so, even a couple days from now. This part of the guide might be updated in a couple days, and it's definitely going to change many times over the next little bit of time. So right now, if you are a solo player going for high rounds in zombies, you'll almost never max out your gun. The XP earn rate is so slow for leveling when you're solo and you're on higher rounds. It's just your weapon is not gonna get much weapon levels at all. So if you want to only level your weapon in zombies, you really need to, in this current state of the game, get 4 people, have 4 people in the game, and go to about round 15, and then either evac or end the game, start over, because past that you're not getting a lot of XP and your weapon is just going to take forever. Unfortunately, going to round 15 with 4 people, you're not going to get an insane amount of kills, so you're not going to make much progress on the challenges you have unlocked already. I mean, you'll make some progress, but yeah, I mean, right now, earning XP in zombies is kind of brutal, unless you're doing the 4-person round 15 quit strat, which isn't going to give you the kills and stuff you need. So right now, that's what I would suggest for leveling your weapons in zombies. Essentially, if you don't have people to play with you, you can like leave your name down below and maybe people will comment and add you there, or just, I guess, search for a public game and just hopefully everything works out on that regard. We played solo pretty much the entire time for the grind, because like I said, we already had our weapons level max. We went the multiplayer approach of leveling our weapons, because I'm gonna get everything unlocked in multiplayer as well. So I thought, you know, if I'm gonna do that as well, I might as well just kind of kill 2 birds 1 stone, get that out of the way there, and then hop into zombies. So yeah, like I said, we're probably gonna update this part of the guide quite a bit and probably have more advanced videos specifically on leveling of weapons in the future, because that is gonna change, and it's gonna change a lot. And now let's go more into kind of the in-game, kind of how you want to play it. Right now, there's only 1 map in the game, so of course only showing you how to level up weapons on the 1 zombies map. I know you have, if you're on PlayStation, you have that extra mode Onslaught, but I don't really want to include that too much in the guide because only 1 subset of players can actually use that. And from what it seems, it's really good for the elite kills, but for leveling the weapons and getting the other kills, it's probably not the route you want to go. So usually when starting off, we'll start off in the spawn area. Obviously, where else are you going to start off? And we'll stay there till about round 9 or 10, till we have about enough points to kind of go throughout the map, open the map, kind of turn on power. And I'm not going to show you how to turn on power in this guide. There's many guides out there for that, but essentially get power open, get the weapon pack-a-punch, because one of those kill challenges is 2,500 pack-a-punch kills. So the quicker you can get your gun pack-a-punched and start training, the better off you're going to be. And then also, obviously, you need critical kills. So while in the spawn area, we're only really going for headshots for the most part, because like I said, you need 2,500 critical kills as well. So in the spawn room, we stay about till around 10-ish, depending on what weapon we're using. Obviously, if you're using a pistol or a sniper or something that's not as great, you might have to leave a little bit earlier. But if you're using like an SMG or an AR, you can pretty safely stay just kind of till round 10 in the starting room, and then kind of open the map in your descent to unlocking the pack-a-punch and stuff like that. Now, kind of the next thing we do is after pack-a-punch is opened and you got your weapon packed, we would start training underneath pack-a-punch, down in the little circular area below here. Now, I know a lot of people are like, spawn's a better place to train, or this or that. Spawn is a little bit safer to train, but with spawn, 1, you're not on a flat ground, so hitting the headshots, in my opinion, was a little bit harder because you're not quite at an even ground with them, and you do need those 2,500 critical kills. And the spawn rate at spawn was just so slow, man. Like, it's not near as quick down here. This is a little bit more risky down here, and my advice would be to try this area, and if you find yourself dying too often, then I maybe go back to spawn, because like I said, it's a little bit easier. But if you can handle training down here, I think this is a way better place to get kills quickly. And like I said, the ground's completely flat, so you can just line up those criticals and not have to worry about adjusting your aim at all in this area. And essentially we would train in this area, and we'd occasionally go up to where you could upgrade your weapons, and just every time we got more salvage, we'd upgrade our armor, we'd upgrade our weapons. Once we got, you know, enough points to buy all the perks, I mean, I would just train down here until I got enough money, and I'd make one trip. I'd buy all of my perks, everything but elemental pop, and then I'd come back down and just continue training. I wouldn't suggest going and buying a perk every time you have the money for it, because like I said, you spend a lot of time wasting running to grab that perk and coming back. So essentially I would just train till I have about 15k to spend on perks, go out, buy all 5 of the perks you want to acquire, head back and continue training and killing. And I mean, at this point, this is just the easy, like, I mean, you're pretty much set for the rest of the game. You just sit here, train, kill, and when you get your scraps and stuff, obviously continuously upgrading the weapon, putting the fire mod attachment on from the pack-a-punching your weapon when you get enough money to pack-a-punch it a second time. And then usually we'd sit here and we'd train until about round 30 to 35. Past that, you can live longer and you can stay alive longer and get more kills, but you gotta understand, you also need those elite kills. So I mean, if you already have all 15 elite kills done on your weapon, then obviously stay and continue until you die. Don't end the game, just keep going all the way to the very end, because the only reason we end at around 30 to 35 is because past this point, it takes too long to get another elite, and you'd be better off just starting over from round 1 and then starting this strat again. And usually it takes about, if your weapon's pretty much already leveled, it only takes about 2 games to max out a weapon. So doing this strat 2 times should get you, as long as you're getting 6 to 7 elites each time, it might leave you with 1 or 2 elites left. But yeah, this was kind of the main meat of this strategy. Once you got all your attachments set up and all that, essentially just getting your weapon maxed out, training underneath Pack-a-Punch, and just staying alive. I mean, we did this for everything. The snipers, the rocket launchers, all of it. Like, everything was just essentially done using this core formula. And it's very simple, and there's not much altercations to it. You just get the weapon maxed out, and you just sit here and train. And I mean, your playstyle has to change up a little bit, but I mean, every weapon's viable to be used training underneath Pack-a-Punch. Like, all the pistols, all the snipers are a little bit more tricky just because, I mean, you only get 1 shot, but I mean, you're just training backwards and shooting them in the head. It's just you're now doing it slower than what you were doing with the AR, obviously. Same thing, the rocket launcher. I mean, you just train them up, and the hardest part of the rocket launcher is the 55 kills. But I mean, even with that, you train them up and you hit 1 rocket launcher shot into the horde. And I mean, that's really it. There's not much else to this strat. Like I said, there are things I am planning on going more detailed in the future. I definitely want to kind of investigate some of the XP earn rates, especially after they change things up, because they're going to be changing things up for this. So right now, that's kind of the most volatile thing about these camo grinds is the weapon leveling. On top of that, like I said, we're going to start working on the multiplayer videos. Now, this was one kind of concise video for zombies, because like I said, all of the weapons play the same. Like, it's not, the strategy didn't change depending on the weapon, but multiplayer, there's about 3 or 4 different strategies we use for different weapon classes, so I kind of want to go in detail to each and every one of those in that video. I really want to break it down depending on the weapon class. Like, I know a lot of people have been asking me about the point blanks, about the kills behind cover, and I've got really decent techniques about those. The point blanks, I can finish from about 2 games using these strats, getting about 35 to 40 a game, and it's really not that hard. And like I said, I want to kind of focus in on those specific things in some videos, because that's where people are struggling. So yeah. But that's really going to be it for this video. So like I said, if you guys want to see other kind of more advanced tips when it comes to unlocking camos, and not just this COD, in any COD, I kind of want to branch out, like especially maybe make a more in-depth guide for COD Mobile and stuff like that, and other things, other camo grinds we've done before, especially next year's COD. Like I said, we're going to go really into detail with stuff like that here. And as things change in this game, I want to keep you guys up to date in kind of the best way to earn all of the camos in this game in the future. And we're unlocking more than that. We're going for 100% in both multiplayer and zombies, and a lot more of that in the future. And I want to make guides, especially some of the more hard calling cards and the harder dark ops. I really want to go and make pretty advanced guides on those. So make sure you guys sub if you want to see that. And I think that's going to be it for this one. I guess I'll see you guys later. Peace.